We just received one of the best PSVR titles with the release of Star Wars Squadrons. I recently put out a review of the game going over my thoughts, and to cut things short, I absolutely loved the game. But one question many people have been wondering is if the game is worth it without a VR headset. So today I thought I'd go over my thoughts on the non-VR version and compare the two. But before we get started, if you're looking for an explanation of the game's mechanics and modes, you won't find it here. You can check out my review of the game for all that information. In this video, I'll instead be focusing solely on comparing the non-VR version to the VR version of Star Wars Squadrons. So let's get started. The first thing I immediately noticed when playing the game without VR is that the graphics are amazing. All the textures, lighting, models, and effects look fantastic. One of the issues I had with the VR version is that it looked blurry, which ruined some of the atmosphere for me. So I have to commend the non-VR version for that aspect of the game. As for the controls, it plays just as well as the VR version. My opinion still stands that the game is played best with a HOTAS 4 controller. If you're able to find a HOTAS 4 for a good price, definitely pick one up for this game. As for the gameplay side of things, this is where some issues started to pop up. The first thing I noticed is that my vision felt more restricted. There's no way to move the camera or switch to a third-person perspective, which definitely made me feel more restricted after just playing the VR version. In VR, you're able to freely move your head around and see ships darting around you, while in the non-VR version, I was always having to move my ship to see everything. I could never see enough without having to turn around often. Another thing I would like to mention is that most of the ship designs cover up a lot of the screen, making it even harder to view the space you're fighting in. These issues weren't too bad in the story mode, but I really started to notice them when going into the multiplayer modes. I was almost always circling around trying to keep up with opponents, and I was also bumping into objects. Now obviously this is something all players would get better at and more used to as time progresses, but it just feels like the VR version has a major advantage over non-VR players. I think it would be great if they could add an option for a third-person perspective for non-VR players, similar to Star Wars Battlefront 2. So that players can choose whatever perspective they prefer. So in conclusion, Star Wars Squadrons is good without VR, but I still believe the absolute best way to experience this game is through virtual reality. It's more immersive, it's easier to play, and is a great combination with the HOTAS 4 controller. You can still get some fun out of the non-VR version, but I really wouldn't recommend playing it unless you're unable to play or purchase a VR headset.